Hello, everybody. I love to see all these names. I love to see you guys excited about what we have to share. First off, I want to say thank you for joining us via Zoom this afternoon. We hope what we have to say is helpful to you guys. And then also, I want to share a big congratulations on your admittance to HWS. That's extremely exciting, and we're extremely excited for you. So before we get started, I'd like to ask everybody to please keep their microphones on mute. This session is being recorded for future viewers, and we'd like to limit the extra noise as much as possible. So please, again, keep yourself on mute. And therefore, if you have any questions, please submit them via the chat feature, and we will get to them later in the session. So I'll first start by sharing a little about myself. My name is Dan Messino. I'm a senior from Fairport, New York. I'm an economics major and an entrepreneurial studies minor. I'm very involved on campus. I'm a member of the Hobart basketball team. I'm a member of the Hobart Finance Club, which is a club where we discuss, stock market activity. I work in the Center for Teaching and Learning as an athletic study mentor, where in my position, I support first years as they navigate balancing, academics and athletics. And I've also participated in several HWS days of service. And kind of to round it out, I'm also a member of numerous honor societies, including the Druid Society, which is a Hobart Senior Society, and then the Phi Beta Kappa Society, which is an academic society. And then as far as internships go, last summer I worked at Bloomberg and in their financial products division, and I was a financial sales and analytics intern. That was a great experience, and it was made possible through a connection I made with an alum at Hobart. So that was awesome. And then lastly, I would say my most recent news is that I've actually accepted admission to the University of Rochester Simon Business School to pursue an MBA with a concentration in finance for the next 2 years. So I'm really excited about that. Today, I'm here with Professor of Economics, Chair of Environmental Studies Department and Entrepreneurial Studies Program, Professor Tom Drennen, and then also classmate Delia Lawver. Delia, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Delia Lawver. I'm a senior from Pennington, New Jersey, and I joined Dan in welcoming and congratulating you on being admitted to HWS. I'm an economics major and a member of the hair and lacrosse team here. I interned last summer at Aon, which is a leading global professional services firm, and I was recently hired as a business development specialist for them in New York City to begin after graduation. So I'm super excited about that, and I encourage everyone to get an internship during their time here. I found out about Aon through career services by going on the New York City finance trip in my sophomore year, where I met alums and parents who work in the finance field. Additionally, on campus, I'm a member of the Omicron Delta Epsilon Economics Honors Society and the Finance Society. And then I also work for William Smith Game Management. We're here today with Professor Tom Drennen, who has coached me through my time at HWS. He teaches programs or teaches classes in the economics, environmental studies, and entrepreneurial studies programs. And he was super influential in bringing the entrepreneurial studies program to life here at HWS. So Professor Drennen, can you tell us a little bit about your background and any recent research projects you've been working on?
Yes, hi. Thank you for that nice introduction, and it's great to see you all here today. Wish you were on campus so we could meet in person, but soon, hopefully. Yeah, I've been here since 1996, and I focus on energy and environmental issues and kind of the trade-offs between the economics and the technologies. So, trying to figure out which technology is better or how we end up with a cleaner environment. It's funny, I'm actually bumbling over that for some reason. I don't know why. Not like me. So here we are. And, what do I teach? I teach courses in entrepreneurial studies, quantitative tools. I teach a senior capstone. I teach a course called energy economics. I teach environmental economics. And I teach a first year seminar. So I teach a wide range of classes, which is pretty typical here at HWS. Current research, I'm focused on, again, I focus on issues of where are the markets going in the energy field. And so I'm really curious about, there's a big push to get to deep decarbonization of our energy system. And so what does that mean? How are we going to get to a world where our power sources are not contributing to climate change? And I was just on a call with people at Sandia National Labs before this, where I work on the economics. I build economic models that help researchers understand those trade-offs.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Professor. So we'll move on. So although, here at Hobart, we don't actually have a business major, we actually do have an extraordinary number of graduates who go into business careers. In fact, it actually seems like the majority of our alums in some form or another are in business. And we get such high career results because, not only do we encourage students to study subjects they are interested in, we also provide them with supplemental advising, workshops, and networking opportunities that really set them up for, success in business down the line. We feel that this combination creates students who graduate from HWS and are extremely competitive when seeking jobs, and then also when looking to gain entrance into master's programs, such as myself. So, Professor Drennen, can you explain what pre-business advising looks like and how quickly students can take advantage of it?
Yes, absolutely. So, right, I want to emphasize that we do not offer a business major. We offer pre-business advising, which I'll come back to in a minute, economics, and then as a major or minor, and entrepreneurial studies as a minor. And all of those help prepare students for the types of careers they want to pursue, such as, Dan and Delia really wanted to be in the finance world or involved in that. And so economics was a logical choice for them. What we encourage you to do if you're interested in business is right away start talking to our pre-business advisor. Start talking to Professor Warren Hamilton or myself, trying to figure out what the right track is for you. Should you be econ? Econ can be a bit more theoretical in some cases, right, Dan? It's there's a lot of the courses are not that applied. But in entrepreneurial studies, it's much more applied. It's much more, let's figure out, do you want to create your own business? How do you do that? What are all the steps? You want to launch a nonprofit? How do you do that? And in entrepreneurial studies, we focus a lot on making sure you can give a pitch, making sure you can present to investors, really trying to give you the confidence and skills you need to tackle any problem that you see.
Yeah, if I can jump in, Professor, I would agree with you. A lot of the core classes of econ are pretty theory-based, and that's been awesome, honestly, just to kind of like develop, a framework of thinking and develop problem-solving skills and such. But I also feel like, HWS does a great job through electives in econ of offering those, finance-based courses and, analytical courses in conjunction with entrepreneurial studies, where you kind of get that foundation of theory and then add on to it with the analytical and, like those type of skills. So like I personally have felt, I've grown a lot in doing both.
Yeah. So when I have a new advisee, that's kind of what I ask. I say, where do you see yourself? What do you want to pursue? And with Delia, I remember clearly, when we had that kind of discussion, and I said, you need to go in your sophomore year, you need to do the finance trip to New York City, where we go from firm to firm, where we have alums. I think we did 4 full days of visits and 40 different alums talking about opportunities. That's the network that we help students build. And from that, Delia, she learned that Aon was, felt like the right place for her and made it work. Dan's going down a similar path, but has decided to get an MBA first.
Yeah, I would say that the finance trip was a super beneficial experience, and you don't get that at a lot of other schools. But Professor Drennen, can you talk to us about if students ever work with you on your research projects, or are there other ways that students and faculty collaborate in the economics and entrepreneurial studies departments?
Absolutely. What I like to tell students is, this is a small school. I went to really large schools where professors focused on their graduate students, and we had graduate students often teaching our classes or being the TAs. That is not going to happen here. First, in terms of teaching, you will get to know your professor well. I do all the grading. I do all the teaching. I answer all the questions, right? So it's a much different experience than I got at larger schools. And that means, for better or for worse, I know you better. I know what your weaknesses and your strengths are. And, I think that makes it a much better learning environment than a big school where you're just a number. But it also means, and this gets to the research part, we don't have grad students. So every professor has to do research, has to write, has to publish in order to get tenure. And so many of us like to involve students in our research. And I've had a long, I've had a long series of summer research students, et cetera, work with me directly on my research. And just looking over, one of my best examples is right here. I hired one of my students. She started as a summer researcher with me, and then I hired her for a full year after graduating. And together we wrote a book called Pathways to a Hydrogen Future. Trying to lay out how you could have a hydrogen-based economy running on fuel cell vehicles. She now is Jennifer Rostel, my co-author on that, is now a natural gas trader, meaning that she, trades natural gas, much like you trade stocks. And, she's really successful. And so, yes, we absolutely get students involved in research. We have a lot of summer research opportunities. We have opportunities throughout the year. One of my colleagues in entrepreneurial studies, he has 40 publications to date in 5 years of being at HWS, and 10 or 15 of those articles in peer-reviewed journals have student authors. He's really good at getting students involved in his research.
Awesome. So similarly, Professor, how would you say that HWS in their economics and entrepreneurial studies curriculum supports students in pursuing their own entrepreneurial endeavors?
Yes, I'm going to focus on entrepreneurial studies for that. So again, entrepreneurial studies is a minor. So you can pair it with any major like econ, but also media and society, history, whatever you're passionate about. And what we really want is that you do this minor to give you the skills you need to then pursue your passion once you graduate. We have a downtown Geneva building called the Bizzuto Center for Entrepreneurship, where we teach some of our classes. But the ultimate vision there and what's happening is we're using that space to have students launch businesses or nonprofits, and we give them the support they need. We have money from alums. We have staff who can help coach you with an idea, get you into competitions to raise funds, teach you everything you need to know to launch an enterprise, and take it to the next level. So, that's really where this minor is about 5 years old, but it's just taking off, and we have about 250 minors in it now. And so, we're really building entrepreneurship as something really unique about HWS that you're not going to find anywhere else, or almost no other small school has anything like it.
That's awesome. Dan and I have kind of touched upon what we're doing after we graduate, but what are some things that students typically do after graduation who are involved in economics and entrepreneurial studies while they're here at HWS?
So a small percentage do go on to grad school. So either an MBA, and Dan is doing that directly out of HWS. We have students go on and become professors. So they earn their PhD and become professors. One of our newest professors in econ graduated from Hobart about 6 years ago, and it's great to have him back as a professor now. A larger number actually goes into the finance sector from econ. So, we have lots of people who go off to New York, Boston, Washington to work in the finance related fields. entrepreneurial studies is all over the place right now. We have alums who are starting doing startups, from running a pizza truck that circulates around downtown Geneva, to a organization. Actually, I have a coffee mug from them right here on my desk. They're a group that really worried about depression and built an online resource called talkaboutdepression.org. And they're doing a really good job of getting the word out there. How do you help people who are depressed and distressed? What do you do when your friend comes to you and says, I think I'm thinking of killing myself? So, entrepreneurial studies gave students like that the way to take that idea or that problem and take it to the next level.
Great. All right. So we got one last question before we open it up to the audience for questions. So quickly, will you make an elevator pitch for the value of the liberal arts education versus a more traditional undergraduate business major in today's society?
Absolutely. We hear all the time from employers, they don't want business majors. They want students who can think critically, who can do really good pitches, who can present, but it's really that critical thinking skill set that they're looking for. And when we go on the finance trip, we find out all the time that a lot of our alums who are really successful were English or history or even art history majors. And but yet, they learned through their HWS education a way of thinking that appeals to employers. And so, right, they do not have a business degree. We say, if you want a business degree, you can go do that after graduation, like Dan is pursuing an MBA. So we really focus on find your passion, pursue that passion, and along the way, you're going to learn how to effectively pitch your ideas, write effectively, etc. We teach you those skills that you need.
That's great. Should we see if the audience has any questions for us?
Sure. This is where, don't be shy. Go ahead and, what's on your mind? What do you want to do that we can help you figure out how you do it here at HWS?
Come on, don't be shy. Either unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
While we're waiting, I'm gonna talk about one other opportunity that we're working on here at HWS. We plan on launching a new master's program in the very near future. We just have to get it through New York State, but that's likely to happen this summer, so that we have a Master in Management program here at HWS. It's a one-year program, so not a two-year MBA program like Dan's going to do, but it's another program that we'll offer to enhance that skill set. And our hope is that it becomes it'll become a really strong option for HWS students to then tack on to their undergraduate experience. So you can major in history, dance, art history, and then get the basic skills you need to pursue that with a management degree. So we can't officially advertise that yet because we don't have state approval yet, but we will have soon.
Seems like we got a shy crowd. I got some questions I guess I can pose. Okay. So I know a lot of people come into school wanting to study abroad. That's something that's important to them. Could you speak a little bit about HWS Study Abroad, and then also if there's any international internship opportunities that like you've seen students pursue? Yeah, we have
upwards of 50% of our students do study abroad. It's been a little bit difficult this year, as you can imagine. I was supposed to be in Australia with students, but here I am. but we will return to normal soon. And I push my students to all study abroad. I push them to go out of their comfort zone and go for a program that they probably won't do once they graduate. So for example, I did the Australia program about 8 years ago. The Australia program is mainly for bio and environmental studies students. But honestly, it was the best semester of my life to be in Australia and in the Great Barrier Reef with 16 students from HWS. It's a really powerful experience. I've done a Geneva, Switzerland program twice in my career. And again, we actually put students in internships, whether it was at the World Trade Organization or other UN agencies located in Geneva, Switzerland. For econ students, one of the strongest programs actually is probably Copenhagen. We send students there every semester. And I don't know, Dan, Delia, did you do a semester abroad, or did you get gypped out of it because of COVID?
I studied abroad fall of 2019 in Maastricht in the Netherlands. And actually, while I was there, I was able to take an intro to business administration course. So for anyone who's interested in going to business, like that's not a course that we necessarily offer here. You can get aspects through other courses, but that was a really beneficial course for me to kind of learn a little bit more about concrete advertising strategies and accounting strategies and stuff like that. And then I'm an econ major, so I also was able to take an Economics and Society of Contemporary Asia course, which again was not a course that was necessarily offered here. So I learned a lot about the financial markets in Asia and just some of the dynamics there, a lot about foreign direct investment. So that was a really interesting course as well, but it was probably one of my favorite semesters. And I definitely recommend everyone study abroad if they get the opportunity. But I see that there's a question in the chat from Derek Howe. He asked, how does the economics department partner with career services?
Yes. So career services and the econ department work very closely together. We push, or as advisors, we push our students to get involved with career services from your very first year. They have a program called Pathways that introduces you to your 4-year trajectory of everything you need to do. How are you going to learn how to network? How are you going to get an internship? And we urge students to do that their first year, so that time you're a senior, you've already done an internship, hopefully. And that then, as in the case of Delia, led to a job offer. And that's pretty typical, actually, that as long as if your internship goes well, you often get a job offer. In fact, I'm amazed how I don't know the rate, but it seems like most people who do a finance internship get a job offer. So, we have a really high success rate. And I personally I go on the New York finance trip as often as I can, or the Boston one, and other faculty do as well, so that we have that faculty connection along with career services going to these various firms.
And if I can add to that, along with the support that career services gives, it's even more powerful because of how strong our alumni network is.
Mm-hmm.
Through my 4 years, I've connected with a ton of alums, and it always blows my mind just how supportive and how much alums want to help you. Like I feel like we really have a strong pay it forward mentality, and along with like as Professor Drennen mentioned, all the workshops that career services offers between how to network, how to build a resume, how to maintain relationships. Those things are all just like building great foundations, and it helps a ton when you're starting to look towards what your next steps are going to be.
Yeah, to go off of what Dan said, actually at my internship at Aon, there has to be 20 or something alums who work at Aon, and I got the opportunity to talk to them just because I emailed them and said, hey, I'm interning here. I'm a student at HWS, and actually one of them, prior to me getting my job offer, said, if you don't hear anything from October, call me and I might have a job for you. So I ended up getting an offer in the job that I was working in over the summer, but like that's how willing alumni are to help out HWS students.
Absolutely. Yes. Who else has a question? Come on. We're here to help you. There you go, Dan and Delia. Why'd you both choose HWS?
It's a great question. First off, as I mentioned, I'm a student athlete, so I wanted to look for the best fit for me. That was both academically and athletically, and I thought that Division III athletics was just a perfect balance between competitive athletics and teammates that are like me and are still very competitive and work really hard, but also students who share their interest in academics and are motivated and really want to pursue deep interests in academics. So that's first off why I chose Division III sports. And then HWS specifically, it's a beautiful campus. I remember first time I stepped foot on campus, I fell in love with just the look of it. And then everybody from career services to professors to anybody I interacted with was just so positive and wanted to help. And that's something that wasn't just when I was looking to come here, but it's continued throughout my 4 years. So it was something I was very excited about when I made the decision, and I don't regret it. And I wish I had more time here. I'm sad to graduate. So
Yeah, similar to Dan, I'm also a student athlete here. So lacrosse was part of the reason that I chose to come to HWS. I also wanted a D3 experience because I wanted to study abroad, and HWS has a very well-known and well-respected study abroad program. So that was one of the big reasons that drew me here. But I also was really excited about the sense of community that I felt when I came to visit, and the willingness of professors to help out their students. And I think that's something that's been really great for me, is getting to know my professors on such a personal level. And I know that's something that a lot of my friends who go to bigger schools haven't had the opportunity to do. So that was something that drew me to HWS, and it's been really awesome.
So we have a couple more questions. One, do you mostly teach courses about green energy? I wish I could just teach about green energy because that would make me very happy. But no, I have to cover all energy sources as well as some quantitative classes. Professors here teach 5 courses a year, so I can do my energy class once a year. And I want to give you an idea for the final project in that energy class because I think it's a really good challenge. What I basically say to the students is I want a projection on how many electric vehicles will be on the road in 2030 and 2050, and that's it. Build me a model, write me a paper, show the results, and be able to defend your results. So it's not. I like to keep it short. It's not an easy problem at all to come up with, and it's a real challenge that I like to do. The other thing on green energy that I really want to bring up because I'm really proud of it is we now have over 18,800 solar panels powering our campus, and that was because of projects that some of my students took on or did with me, and so we have 20 acres covered with solar panels, not right on campus, but providing power. About 50 to 55% of our campus power is now coming from those solar farms. I'm really proud of that. The second question, what would the pathway look like if I was interested in international business? So that's a really good question. Several ways to think about that. So first off, some of our folks that go into finance, some of our students that end up in finance end up doing rotations where international is a component. And I can think of a few of my students who've ended up starting off or going to Hong Kong. I can think of one student who's been in Hong Kong for about 15 years now, actually, and others have gone off to China. So again, we create those opportunities through the semester abroad program, through career services, through our alums. But I'd say no two paths in that area are the same. I don't know, Dan or Delia, do you have anything to add on that one?
I think that there are a lot of great courses as well that kind of like promote the study of international business. I personally haven't taken any international relations courses, but I obviously know people who have done that major, and then have also done an economics major in addition to that. But I personally have taken a few like international macroeconomics, and that has been a really good insight into international markets and international business. So there's certainly like course options if that's a path that you want to pursue.
Yeah. All right, do we have any other questions brewing out there? What was your favorite course you ever took, Delia?
You're a natural resource and energy economics.
I didn't mean for it. Besides that one, and why? Yeah.
Okay. Well, honestly, that one because of the Excel work that we did, and that was the most helpful. But then, beyond that one, I would say money and financial markets with Professor Khan was also a really helpful one for me and very interesting, just because sometimes with econ courses you don't necessarily get like a finance focus in all of your courses, and that one was a finance focus, and that was a area that I really was interested in. So I would say that one or your natural resource and energy economics.
Thanks. Dan?
Yeah, that's a tough question for me. So I'm gonna have to give you my top three. One of them would be your quantitative tools class that I took last semester. That class was by far the most applicable class that I've taken at HWS. Like, just the amount of Excel work that we did, and how useful that's going to be moving forward, it was extraordinary. And it's really crazy how, talking to a lot of my peers, both friends that go to other schools and people I worked with, and in my internship, how a lot of those skills just really aren't worked on. So I thought that was like an amazing course, and I would say that everybody who comes here should take that, no matter what their major is. And then the two other ones would probably be macroeconomics I took with Professor DeMar. He is just a plethora of knowledge, honestly. And I thought it was so cool that he actually worked on the Canadian Federal Reserve Board. Yeah. So, like when he was talking to us about monetary policy, he like actually was doing that for Canada. So like that was unbelievable. The insight he had to share with us, I learned so much in that class. And then lastly, I would say probably Intro to Investments with Professor Hamilton. That's kind of a different course, and it's kind of how I mentioned earlier, how there are a lot of electives allow you to pursue some of your other interests, and that really kind of like got my feet wet with just the financial markets and investing, both personal investing and just managing wealth and that nature. So that kind of sparked my interest and kind of like led me down the rabbit hole of wanting to pursue finance. So I would say those three were probably like my three favorite for different reasons.
So we had one more question there. So is it possible to double major in both economics and international relations? And the answer is absolutely. We push students to double major if they can, because you can double count some of the courses. So economics and international relations would be a really strong combo. And probably can be done in about 18 courses, and you take 32 during your 4 years at HWS. So you still have room if you want to really become proficient in the language or go in a different direction. That's a really good question. students who come to me who want to do environmental studies, I often try to talk them into double majoring with economics or in geoscience or in biology, just so they have a deeper skill set. I often say environmental studies can mean anything, and I try to get students to focus, right? So learn those additional skills that give you some depth in that area as well.
I think that's definitely one of the biggest benefits here at HWS. Like, I have a major in economics, but I also have 2 minors in environmental studies and entrepreneurial studies. So that's been like really great to be able to mesh them all together. And I know a lot of people at maybe some bigger schools or non-liberal arts schools don't get that option.
Dan, what was the course that pushed you outside your comfort zone the farthest?
I would say, and this, are you saying in any department?
Yes.
I would say probably when I had to fulfill my art goal. So a part of our liberal arts education is you have to fulfill our goals in all different disciplines, and one of them is an art goal. And let me tell you, I don't have one artistic bone in my body.
Me either.
So yeah, so I decided to do a dance class, and I'm actually in it currently right now. And it's called Intro to the African Diaspora. And you know, honestly, it's taken me out of my comfort zone. It's on Zoom, but we dance every day, and I really feel like my confidence overall in every aspect has grown from it, because it has such a light nature, and it's really allowed me to like feel more comfortable, in my body, and just the support you have from both professors and from the professor and other students. It's definitely been a different experience, but one that like I think is awesome, and I think that everybody should take a dance class.
So now I have this image of you dancing in your room on Zoom.
Yeah, that is the case. It's interesting. I mean, we've had to make the best we can during this semester, but
that would be really hard. Yeah.
It is tough, but it's still a good time, I must say.
Delia?
I'd have to think about that. I think probably the course that pushed me out of my comfort zone the most is my entrepreneurial studies senior capstone, which I'm in right now with Dan, actually. But it's a bit of public speaking, which I don't always love. And it's just kind of been a really good course for me to improve my communication skills, because we actually work with an alumni who has her own business. So it's sort of been a different kind of class, because I'm actually working with a real business doing sort of consulting type of stuff. And that's not necessarily the typical like sit down and study and get your homework done type of class that I'm maybe used to. But it also has been really cool, because we're actually doing something that is helping an alumni and helping their business get better for the future.
It's awesome. Awesome. All right.
Any other questions out there? All right. Well, I think it might be time to wrap it up then. Well, thank you everybody for joining in on us today. We appreciate you being here, and we hope you took away a few things from. Oh, we got one question in the chat. We'll take one more. Or...
Yeah.
Sure. How long are you able to stay abroad? Is it one semester?
Typically, most of our programs are 1 semester. We do have 3-week summer programs and during the winter break. But most students who go abroad do a semester long stay. It is possible sometimes to do 2, but that depends on, you don't get priority on the second one. And so that's harder to do, but yes, most of them are a full semester. Yeah. And then, I just wanted to wrap up by saying, if anyone wants to talk to me personally about, what you want to do, what you're interested in doing, happy to do that anytime. We can hop on a Zoom call and talk about it, and we can figure out what your passion is, and whether HWS is the right place. just reach out to me. My email's just my last name at hws.edu, and we'll talk.